Hey everybody, welcome back to the PNW Car Mods YouTube channel. Let's see if we can do a quick one take update on the 8-rib setup. I've made a few changes since the big overly long video last time. First and foremost, I was able to find an 8-rib tensioner pulley that is sold through Vortec superchargers. It's made by Dayco, says so right on it, but I couldn't find it anywhere on Dayco's website. Anyways, it is a double bearing unit, so there's a bearing side by side in there, which is what I wanted. Only problem was this pulley was spaced wrong by 1 rib width, too far away from the engine. So to utilize it, what I ended up doing was I had to mill off 3/16 of an inch off of the base, the tensioner base, where it bolts onto the water pump. I would like to have run a stock part, just so you can go get something at the auto parts store if necessary, but on that same note, I also wanted an 8-rib double bearing tensioner pulley, so had to kind of compromise there a little bit. Let's see, I got ARP bolts, 10.9 bolts for the blower pulley to replace the rusty hardware store Allen cap screws that were in there. So that is done. And then last but not least, I went ahead and ponied up the extra $50 over the Dirty Dingo alternator pulley for the actual Innovators West alternator pulley. This is a 3-inch pulley. The Dirty Dingo pulley was like 2 1/8. It was tiny. You're gonna end up overspinning the alternator in a bad way, in conjunction especially with the 10% overdrive balancer pulley. To fit this guy on and keep it in line with the Dirty Dingo power steering pulley, I ended up having to lathe off about 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit more, to get this pulley as close to the alternator case as possible. I also ended up having to sand off like these 4 casting bumps on the front of the case of the alternator to make this clear once I'd shortened it up. Everything seems to be running well. I've had it unintentionally up near 6,500 once or twice, and the belt did not fly off ever. Also, something to note real quick, with the 3-inch alternator pulley, that also put the tensioner exactly in its range where it should be. And actually, when the engine is hot, it's about in the middle of the first 2 tick marks on the tensioner. So I'm happy with that. Let's run over prices real quick. So $530 is for the Innovators West balancer, $44 was for the Vortec pulley, tensioner pulley. $100 was for the Innovators West alternator pulley, $130 for the Dirty Dingo power steering pump pulley, and then $44 for the 2 AC Delco / Gates smooth 8-rib tensioner, or idler pulleys, excuse me. So my grand total to do an 8-rib was $848. The retail on the full Innovators West 8-rib kit to accomplish the same task is $1150, and I would say my savings is then approximately $302 to build my own setup. Now let's say hypothetically that the Summit Racing 8-rib balancer would have worked in this application. It would have been all the way down to $536. So that would have been a pretty sweet deal for an 8-rib belt drive for your blower. The Gates HD belt that I ended up running was $51, but I don't really count that as being part of this. So I'm not sure where I was after the garage door ended up opening on me. I will quickly add that as far as the performance that I gained from all of this, there's no belt slip at the blower anymore. It wasn't really bad to begin with a good fresh belt on there, but now it never squeaks, it never chirps, it doesn't do anything, it just runs. With the 10% overdrive balancer in conjunction with so I think the balancer is 8 1/4 inches and the blower pulley is 2.45. We're making approximately 10 psi of boost at a mere 2100 RPMs, and we're making 13.5 psi of boost at only like 4,400 or something like that. So I'll know more on that later as we get this engine tuned a little bit more. But so far I'm very happy with the 8-rib upgrade. If you have any questions on doing this job yourself, just put them down in the comments below. And some of these parts I would think would be you could utilize for doing an 8-rib conversion even on a flip drive centrifugal blower. Obviously some of the pieces would be different, but I think the obviously the alternator pulley and some of the idlers and the balancer could be utilized for sure. So that's all I got for an update at this moment. There will be more to come, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see y'all on the next one.